Hi everyone, this is a horror video from Relhor. Enjoy watching. Sis. One girl's daddy died, and her mother was quite poor, not working and not able, and they had to sell the apartment. They went to her grandmother's old house in the country. Grandmother had been dead for 2 years and no one lived there. But it was decent there, because the neighbor cleaned it for money. And the girl and her mother began to live there. The girl was far away to go to school, and she was given a certificate that she studied at home, and only took all sorts of exams and tests at the end of the quarter to go to school in the district center. So she and her mother stayed home all day, only sometimes they went to the store, also in the district center. And my mother was pregnant, and her belly was growing. It was growing for a long time, and it grew twice as big as usual. It took so long for a baby to be born. Then mom went to the store, like in winter, and she was gone almost a week. The girl was all tormented. She was afraid of being alone at home. The windows were black, the electricity was out of order, and snowdrifts were coming up to the windows. She was running out of food, but her neighbor was feeding her. And then, late at night, there was a knock at the door and her mother's voice called out to the girl. The girl opened the door, and her mother came in. She was all pale, with blue circles around her eyes, thin and tired. She had given birth and was holding the baby in her arms, wrapped in some sort of shabby skin, maybe even a dog's skin. The girl closed the door quickly, put the baby on the table, and began to undress her mother. She was very cold. She was all ice cold. The girl made a fire in the iron stove they used to warm themselves near that stove in the evenings, and sat mother down in the old armchair, and then went to see the child. I opened it slowly, and there was such a baby that it was not a newborn or even a baby. There was another girl, about 3 or 4 years old, her face small and angry, and she had no hands or feet. "Oh, Mama, who is it?" the little girl asked, and her mother said, "All babies are ugly at first. When my little sister grows up, she'll be all right. Give me that." She took the baby in her arms and started breastfeeding. And that girl sucks her breast as if nothing had happened, and looks at the first girl slyly and maliciously. And their names were Nastya and Olaya. Olaya was the one without arms and legs. And Olaya was already running and jumping very well, i.e., crawling very fast on her stomach. And jumped on it, and she managed, as a caterpillar, to put herself upright and with her teeth, for example, to grab something and pull it on herself. There was no escape from her. She knocked over everything, gnawed, spoiled, and my mother told Nastya to clean up after her, because Nastya was the eldest and also because she was ill all the time now. She was sick and even slept strange, with her eyes open, as if she was just faint. Now Nastya cooked for herself and ate separately from her mother, because her mother had her own diet for nursing mothers. Life became quite disgusting. If Nastya didn't eat or clean up after that mean girl Olaya, her mother would send her away to get firewood or do her homework, and all day and all evening Nastya would solve problems and write exercises and study physics so that she could retell everything without stuttering on a single word. My mother did almost nothing. All she did was feed Olaya or rest between feedings, because a nursing woman gets very tired, and everything was on Nastya, and washing Olaya too, and Olaya was wriggling and laughing nastily. It was still a pleasure to wash her from the poop. But Nastya put up with everything for her mother's sake. So a month or 2 passed, and the winter only got colder, and everything around her was in drifts, and the light bulbs, which were hanging in the rooms without chandeliers, were always blinking and very dim. Suddenly Nastya began to notice that someone was coming up to her at night and breathing over her face. She thought at first that it was her mother, like before, to see if she was sleeping well, if the covers hadn't slid down, and then she looked through her eyelashes and saw that it was Olga standing still by the bed, looking at her, and smiling so much that her heart was in her heels. Then Olaya noticed that Nastya was looking, and said in a nasty voice, "Who asked you to look when you shouldn't? Now I'll bite off your fingers. 1 finger a night. And then I'm going to eat my hands. And that's how I'm going to grow my own hands." And she immediately bit off the little finger on Nastya's hand, and blood gushed out. Nastya was lying there in a daze, but she jumped up from the pain and started screaming. and Mom is still asleep, and Olaya laughing and jumping. Okay, said Nastya, I can't do anything with you anyway, and lay down as if to sleep, and even fell asleep. And in the morning Olaya pooped again, and her mother told Nastya to wash her. Good thing there was some wood in the house, because she couldn't get to the wood pile because of the drifts into the well, so Nastya took water straight from the snow, scooped it up with a bucket, and heated it on the stove. The wound from the bitten off finger hurt a lot, but Nastya did not say anything to her mother. She took Olaya and began to bathe her in the baby's bathtub, which they had found in the attic when they moved in. Olaya, as always, wriggled and giggled, and Nastya started drowning her. And then Olga started to fight and bit Nastya's hands all over, but Nastya drowned her anyway, and she stopped breathing, and then Nastya put her on the table and saw that Mommy kept looking at the stove and didn't notice anything. And then Nastya fainted because there was a lot of blood coming out of the bites. During the night the house got so covered with snow that the neighbor got scared and called the rescue workers. They came and dug out the house and found a girl fainted, with bitten hands, a dead woman mummified, and a wooden doll without hands or feet. Nastya was later placed in an orphanage for the deaf and dumb. She was really mute, she spoke with her mother's hands. Thank you for watching, write comments and put likes.